Ladies and gentlemen, order.
Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't intend to come here this year. My country is at war, fighting for its life. But after I heard the lies and slanders leveled at my country by many of the speakers at this podium, I decided to come here and set the record straight. I decided to come here to speak for my people, to speak for my country, to speak for the truth.
JEJE Vibe. Can you feel the vibe? You know it's JEJE Vibe.
Oh, JEJE.
JEJE Vibe.
It's JEJE Vibe.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to JEJE Vibe. You know I got the queen with me. Today we're going to be talking about an important topic. Who are the chosen ones?
Who are truly the chosen ones?
Who are truly the chosen ones?
לא העיקריים, קודם כל, לתת להם מכות, לא רק מכות כל כך מכילות, שהמחיר יהיה כבד מנשוא. כרגע המחיר לא כבד מנשוא. התקפה רבת היקף על הרשות הפלסטינית. להביא אותם לפחד שהכל מתמוטט.
לא פוחדים, צוחקים להם, יראו לנו לתוך הישב וצחוק ופשוט הם לא פוחדים.
זה מה שמביא אותם
ואז, רגע, אבל אז שוב פעם העולם יגיד מה אתם כובשים. אתה לא מפחד מהעולם, ביבי.
במיוחד היום עם אמריקה, אני יודע מה זה אמריקה. אמריקה זה לא שאפשר להזיז אותו בקלות, להזיז לכיוון הנכון. לא יכניעו לו.
אז אם אנחנו עושים לזה משהו, אז הם...
יש עליה, אז נניח שהם אומרים משהו. אז אמרו, 80% מהאמריקאים תומכים בנו. זה אבסורד.
There's a whole lot happening in the world. And for us to understand the underlying issue, which is the foundation of all of this craziness happening right now in the world, we have to talk about the underlying issue.
Which is the war.
The war.
We've been trying to stay away from it because I guess we've all been craving for peace for the longest. But I guess it's really time to talk about it.
It's 2024.
Yep. And
October.
hey, what a better way to also include it as part of our ending episodes for 2024.
Yeah. So 2023, October 7, a year ago, we saw the horrific attack that happened in Israel.
October 7 massacre. Hamas, the Iran-backed group controlling Gaza, launched a surprise attack on over 20 Israeli communities. The assault was strategically executed using a combination of rockets, paragliders, motorcycles, and other vehicles to penetrate Israel Defense Forces. This coordinated attack aimed to cause maximum disruption and casualties within a short period of time. The sudden escalation of violence also drew Hezbollah, the largest non-state actor in the Middle East, into the conflict from Lebanon.
Crazy.
Israel ignored vital intelligence from Egypt. Did Israel's security agencies underestimate Cairo's repeated warnings? As the world watches the Israel-Hamas war, a senior Egyptian intelligence officer has made a startling revelation. He claims that Jerusalem ignored multiple warnings on a potential Hamas strike. Amid questions around Israel's intelligence failure, Egyptian intelligence official reveals startling details. The Egyptian official says that Jerusalem ignored repeated warnings that the Gaza-based terror group was planning something big. These warnings reportedly included an apparent direct notice from Cairo's intelligence minister to the prime minister. Yes, you heard that right. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu was allegedly informed. The Egyptian official claims that Cairo, which often serves as a mediator between Israel and Hamas, had spoken repeatedly and warned the Israelis. The Egyptian official further says that Israeli officials were so focused on West Bank that they played down the threat from Gaza.
But the question was like, Israel happens to be a very secured place.
Yup. Hey, because they've built several, domes.
And borders.
Yup.
It's not easy for you to just go around Israel. There's always
The security is tight.
Very, very tight.
And then all of a sudden now we heard that they had security breach.
Do you think he knew it was going to happen?
Well, let's just talk about the facts. We don't have to speculate on that. What we do know is that they did intercept the hostage plan before it took place, right? The 250 hostages that came out in Haaretz media. We also know that Egypt gave them a warning that the attacks were going to take place. Egypt said that they were being ignored. That was a fact. I've been to Israel. Have you been to Israel? We know it's the size of New Jersey. We know that it takes 15 minutes to get from one end to the other. And we know that every 5 feet, there's a person in your face holding a gun. That attack went on for 2 hours without interruption. I find that hard to believe. And this gets to the, I guess you could say, the nucleus of the corruption trial against him, when now he's even arguing with the IDF minister who he fired, Yoav Gallant, am I saying his last name correctly? Where they're saying that some funny stuff happened on October 7th, and they are explicitly accusing him of feeding lies to the Western media. This is crucial. And this could be the undoing of everything. If we find out that he had prior knowledge, and we do know for a fact that he said that he intentionally wanted to take over Palestinian territory, you should find that clip and play it on the show, because it's very significant when he asked the reporter to turn off the camera, and then he starts speaking about his plans for the Palestinians. This was years ago. I think Bibi Netanyahu is a monster, and I think the people that are still standing by him and supporting him, I wouldn't want to have that on my conscience.
Crazy. That's to even show you how tight Israel is.
And then
the World War, the World War Z. Remember the movie World War Z? Israel war was the last to break.
We're letting people in. Every human being we save is one less zombie to fight.
So the question is, how did this happen in October 7th? How was it opened that people were able to get into Gaza or get into Israel with paraglide, breaking in through the fences and perpetrate a very horrific
event?
Which led us to what is going on now.
Hey, after that event, they retaliated.
Yeah, which is the retaliation that hasn't stopped.
That hasn't stopped till then. Only for us to now find out later down the line that this was their plan all along.
So this has always been the plan.
Just so they could take extra land mass.
Gaza is being sold right now.
Over 100 people died in the north of the Strip. And as that was happening, not far away in southern Israel, settlers held a 2-day event.
This whole area is one big terror cell. It has an infection. You have to take out the infection.
They set out their plans for Jewish outposts inside what will be left of Gaza if they get in.
Kids, everybody's calling it a genocide.
It is. It's worse than a genocide if you really think about it. Because now that created so many wars afterwards.
Crazy.
So many unrest among not just Israel now, also neighboring countries.
Around 700,000 settlers now live in the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem, most in large enclaves like this. The West Bank was seized by Israel in the 1967 war. Internationally, it's all considered to be Palestinian land, key to any future Palestinian state. Since the 1990s, more urban areas have been partially controlled by the Palestinian Authority, the rest by the Israeli military. But the territory is now dotted with Israeli settlements widely considered illegal. And over the past 2 years, under Israel's current hardline government, they've seen unprecedented growth.
Like Israel is going after Lebanon?
After the Hamas attack of October the 7th, Israel launched a full-scale military response. At the same time, Hezbollah launched rocket attacks from southern Lebanon into northern Israel in solidarity with Hamas. And in turn, Israel fired back into Lebanon. By September 2024, more than 60,000 Israelis had been forced to leave their homes along the border, a fact used by Benjamin Netanyahu's government to then escalate the conflict. Israel detonated explosives hidden in thousands of pagers and walkie-talkies belonging to Hezbollah members, killing 39 and injuring more than 3,400 others, many of them civilians. They followed up with massive airstrikes against Hezbollah command centres, killing key generals, as well as their leader for the past 3 decades, Hassan Nasrallah. Then on October the 1st, Israel sent ground forces across the border into Lebanon for the first time since the 2006 war. On the same day, Hezbollah's most important ally, Iran, fired a barrage of hundreds of missiles at Israel. And since then, the Israeli airstrikes and Hezbollah rockets have been unrelenting.
We saw the attack between them and Iran.
Hey, Syria that finally just broke off of their, I guess, their former president now. We're beginning to hear that Israel is also trying to take landmass there.
Crazy.
Many Syrians are celebrating the downfall of the Syrian government, but Israel says it's been carrying out airstrikes there. It's even launched a ground operation. Tell us what Israel's goals are here.
We're on the Israeli-controlled side of the Golan Heights. We're looking out over southern Syria. Damascus is over the horizon. And this used to be a buffer zone with Israeli forces on one side, Syrian troops on the other. But as the Syrian regime has collapsed, Israel has moved its forces inside of Syria itself. Now, the Israeli government is saying this is a temporary measure. It is designed to prevent instability, to make sure that the conflict in Syria doesn't spill over into Israeli-controlled territory on this side of the border. Israel also, as you said, carrying out airstrikes targeting chemical weapons, biological weapons, ballistic missile facilities inside of Syria. And what the Israeli government is saying is that it is absolutely determined that these strategic weapons do not fall into the wrong hands, especially into the hands of terrorist groups operating within that broader rebel coalition.
Yeah, we also understand the U.S. carried out airstrikes on ISIS targets, speaking of in Syria, in the wake of this takeover. How concerned is the Biden administration that the group could take advantage of a power vacuum?
Yeah, it's a major concern, and that is exactly the term, a power vacuum. You have a lot of chaos inside of Syria right now.
A war that has been happening 13 years ago that finally ended. Y'all started it all over again.
All in the name of we are the chosen ones.
Are you really the chosen ones? Are you truly the chosen ones? Do you think you've reached the promised land yet?
Seen countless children be orphaned. We have seen countless mothers lose their children. How much is too much, sir? At what point is it time to end this war?
Well, we'll end the war when we achieve our war goals of making sure that Hamas can't repeat such atrocities. But we're fighting this war in a just war with just means, in fact, with means that no other army has ever fought. No other army has taken the precautions that Israel has taken, sometimes at great risk, to make sure that we minimize the number of casualties. Israel is doing, and the Israeli army is doing, something that no other army has done in history and will continue to do that. I'm not going to change my policies, humanitarian policies, vaccination policies, combat policies to minimize civilian casualties.
The funny thing is that the people in Israel are even against what's going on in Gaza.
היום אתה ראש הממשלה הכושל שהיה בתולדות ישראל.
It's not even just that. It bled everywhere, even in the US now, even into our campuses now, we see the opposite end, protest in campus, a space for education.
Kommen und euch mitnehmen. Dann unterlasst am besten das Einhaken hier verbleibt, dann und die Kollegen euch mitnehmen, dann gebt den Widerstand auf und geht einfach mit.
Like crazy.
And this current administration continuously funds the war at the expense of its own people.
Israel's interference in U.S. humanitarian operations is in clear violation of Section 6201 of the Foreign Assistance Act. And that law and its language could not be clearer. So I want everybody to hear what the law says. Quote, "No assistance shall be furnished to any country when it is made known to the President that the government of such country prohibits or otherwise restricts directly or indirectly the transport or delivery of United States humanitarian assistance." End quote. That's the law. The law is that if a country prevents humanitarian assistance coming to these starving children, it is violating the law. It could not be clearer than it is. And I think very few people doubt that Israel is in violation of that law. Yet the administration and the Congress do nothing. The State Department doesn't even pretend to apply the Leahy law to Israel, refusing to properly track U.S. arms or even identify which Israeli units receive U.S. security assistance, a basic requirement of the law and a standard applied to every other country. Madam President, as I go around Vermont and around the country, it is my strong feeling that the American people are increasingly disgusted by the destruction of Gaza and the unbelievable misery that is befalling the Palestinian people who are there. And the American people want it to end.
Like, people are not agreeing to what's going on.
And you continuously do that till the point that all the appointed associated with this government have some sort of Israel history.
Crazy.
Now makes you wonder, is Netanyahu ruling the U.S.?
Crazy. Because anytime he comes like this, everybody's giving him standing ovation.
Mm-hmm.
For the forces of civilization to triumph, America and Israel must stand together.
He cannot be criticized, but we can criticize Trump. We can criticize.
Is our American flag still, 50 states? Or is it another country entirely?
Like, what are we doing? What's going on? Like, everybody in Capitol Hill has an I stand with Israel.
Yep, in front of their doors.
Crazy. What's really going on? What's the underlying question here?
במיוחד היום עם אמריקה, אני יודע מה זה אמריקה. אמריקה זה דבר שאפשר להזיז אותו בקלות, להזיז לכיוון הנכון. לא יכניעו לו.
אז שאם אנחנו עושים איזה משהו, אז הם...
יש עליה, אז נניח שהם אומרים משהו. אז אמרו, 80% מהאמריקאים תומכים בנו. זה אבסורד. לא פחדתי להתאבד שם. לא פחדתי להתאבד עם קלינטון. לא פחדתי להתאבד עם אובמה. מה היו הסכמי אוסלו? הסכמי אוסלו שהכנסת חתמה עליהם. שאלו אותי, מה כבר אתה קיים? אוקיי, בתנאי כפוף להדדיות וצמצום הנסיבות. אבל איך נצמצם את הנסיבות? אני אתן פירוש להסכם שיאפשר לי להפסיק את הדהירה הזאת לקווי 67. איך עשינו את זה? אף אחד לא אמר מה זה אתרים צבאיים מוגדרים. אתרים צבאיים מוגדרים, אני אמרתי, אלה אזורי ביטחון. בקעת הירדן, מבחינתי זה אתר צבאי מוגדר.
נכון.
זה אוקיי.
יישובי בית שאן, עמק בית שאן.
לך תגיד. אבל אז הייתה שאלה, מי יגדיר מה זה אתרים צבאיים מוגדרים? קיבלתי מכתב מקריסטופר, אליי ולערפאת, באותה לשון, שאומר שישראל בלבד, היא זו שתגדיר מה הם את מיקום האתרים הצבאיים האלה ואת גודלם. עכשיו, הם לא רצו לתת את המכתב הזה, אז לא נתתי את הסכם חברון. הפסקתי את ישיבת הממשלה, אמרתי, אני לא חותם. רק כשהגיע המכתב, תוך כדי הישיבה, אליי ואל ערפאת, חתמתי על הסכם. תגיד לו שעדיף לתת 2% מאשר לתת 100%. וזו הברירה שם עומדת כאן הפרק. אתה נתת 2%, ובזה עצרת את הנסיגה הזאת.
Crazy things has been happening.
We're just observing.
We're just observing. Follow the money. And we were watching the podcast. They were talking about following the money.
Uh-huh.
I have a friend. His name is Mari. I don't think he watches this, but Mari is Jewish. He's a successful Jewish banker. He lives in New York. And I've known Mari for over a decade. We've done business together. He's helped me with some of my banking considerations and some of my SEC FINRA stuff when I was submitting my venture fund for submission to the SEC and all that stuff. So good guy, respectable guy. What I love about him in all of his Jewishness is his absolute candor about the benefits that he receives of being a Semite.
At least he owns it.
And he owns it. He revealed to me, and I did the diligence on it, and this was one of the most shocking things that I ever realized in the world of business. And I have had moments in which I have actually considered bringing on a Semite into my team so I can take advantage of this financial opportunity. The financial opportunity is this. If you are a Semite, you can get zero interest loans at banks anywhere in America. You just have to tell them. They will go to the back. They will show you, they will bring out a folder, a PDF, of how you, as a Semite, can get a loan for your house, a car, extraneous things that you need, a boat, a business, for 0 interest.
Really?
Look it up. When Mari told me this, I was deeply offended. Deeply offended. I have to pay interest on all of my loans. Those interest payments are suffocating. If I was a Semite, I would pay 0 interest on all of it. So you tell me, are there religious doctrines that are being exacted for the benefit of one people group over everybody else?
I got a question. If you were to go take a picture kissing the wall, can you get in the club?
No.
No.
You have to be a Semite.
Is that the only way?
Do you know how you become a Semite?
What if you get your citizenship? Because I remember watching this clip of Glenn Beck.
You can only be a Semite.
Begging Netanyahu to give him the citizenship. Have you ever seen that clip?
Is Glenn Beck's mother a Semite? Then he's not a Semite. You can look it up. You can only be a Semite if your mother was a Semite.
Correct.
If the father is not a Semite, you're not a Semite.
You have to pay interest.
You have to pay interest. So this, you can look it up. I forgot the Semite word for it, because there's a specific word for it that if you say this word and you're going into a bank,
is it like a code word?
It is. It's a Semite word.
Do you do one of these when you say the word?
Maybe it's just a little bit of this.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious. I'm not lying. You guys can look it up right now.
Actually, I want to see the real term sheet.
Exactly. It's 0. But come on, man. You're an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur. You're a successful business builder. You can do the math, the paper napkin math of how much money you've paid on loans to make your business successful. And there is a reality in which if you were a certain type of people group, you would have paid nothing on those loans. And I would take a gander and say,
if Will was here, we would fact check this, but he's not, so we just accept it as truth.
I'm just going to leave you with this. I guarantee if we did back testing on your data and your financials, you probably paid millions of dollars easily. Ugh. Millions of dollars that you didn't have to pay if you were of
it's so sickening if you think about it.
Yep. I'm going to look it up right now. You keep talking. I'm going to look it up.
I don't even know where to go with this. You know what I mean? I'm like pretty upset if you think about it. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the reveal.
Here we go. Hebrew free loans provide members of the Jewish community with 0 interest loans and personalized, confidential, and respectful application process. The Talmud dwells on Ezekiel's condemnation of charging interest, and the Torah and Talmud encourage lending money without interest to Jewish people. Does not apply to Gentiles.
Let me see this.
Telling you, man, there's a word. I was trying to find the secret word, the word that says that you need to go in. But Mari, thank you, my man from decades ago, who let me into this. I was deeply offended, and he just laughed in my face and said, "Hey, you should have just been part of the chosen people."
It's legit.
It's legit.
Wow.
There's a whole lot going on.
You don't want to know. Every sector is owned by associated Israel. Yes, we said it.
This is crazy. It's obvious.
The Semites.
It's obvious.
I didn't realize that I could be considered anti-Semitic till I read one of the definitions of anti-Semitism. Look at this. The definition says, making mendacious, dehumanizing, demonizing, or stereotypical allegations about Jews as such, or the power of Jews as a collective, such as, especially, but not exclusively. This sounds like right? So it says, think about it, that sounds like the type wording that's in the contracts, right?
Indeed.
Okay, it says, such as, especially, but not exclusively, the myth about a world Jewish conspiracy or of Jews controlling the media, economy, government, or other societal institutions.
But isn't that what you said? That Jews run everything?
Yeah, but that actually is considered to be anti-Semitic.
Right.
So I didn't realize that it was anti-Semitic to say, hey, I have a Jewish attorney. I have a Jewish record label. I have a Jewish contractor. I have a
Do you
Jewish...
regret your statements? Or the statements you think you should be walking back? I mean, considering...
What do you mean walking back?
Well, you know, backing up off of them. I mean, the thing is, you've lost a lot of endorsements. People are dropping you. You're getting, vilified. I mean, you might think you're right, but I think, there's a whole world out there that's condemning you for what you said.
Okay, so this right here is a chart of Universal Studios, 20th Century Fox, ABC News, CBS News, Columbia Pictures, Warner Brothers, ESPN Sports, Fox News, Washington Post, Metro Goldwyn Mayer, MTV Music Television, Nickelodeon, USA Today, Wall Street Journal, Comedy Central, NBC Entertainment, Google, what else do we have? Disney, ABC Kids and Family, YouTube, Los Angeles Times, Discovery Network, Paramount Pictures, Facebook, Huffington Post, Yahoo, Marvel, Hulu, Cosmopolitan, Time, Touchstone, Associated Press, Pixar, Miramax, HBO, New York Post, LucasArts, MSNBC, DreamWorks Animation. Now, the thing is, I skipped over maybe about 5 of them because it was just unclear on this list. The red are the executives that are Jewish at these companies.
Is it
the Semites that don't want people saying un-Semite things about them?
Like, if you criticize them, you're anti-Semites. You're anti-Semitic. They call you all this type of names.
Hey, like the Semites that get 0% in everything, 0% interest in everything.
Facts.
while the other anti-Semites are busy paying, their arm and leg in taxes, in interest.
Crazy.
So are you truly the chosen ones?
I think this is a question that we should be asking now. The term chosen one. It's amazing that we all can feel that about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, when a particular group
some people are not raised or were not raised to seclude a particular group from others. Some people are very welcoming.
Facts.
And don't mind equally sharing for sustainability.
Facts. But it looks like this group just wants to take it for themselves and for themselves alone.
Okay, if that's the case, they can take it for themselves and for themselves alone. At the end of the day, humans has to still put value to it. And if you're not of a value, even though you continuously take, then that makes you what? Monopoly money.
Monopoly money.
that bunch of papers that has no value.
Monopoly money. The money has no value. Because it's just circulating within a certain group of people.
Mm-hmm. And then, in a very short period of time, it fades into the oblivion.
Remember, it is still the humans that give it value. So the chosen one is a term that we all individually have to feel about ourselves.
I agree.
But when the system is built to favor just one particular group of people.
Oh, you mean the ones that are not even wise enough? Okay, so if you're not that wise, if you're not that compassionate, if you're not for the humanity, then are you really the chosen one?
It's crazy.
Or more like the scavengers.
Crazy. So guys, let us know what you guys think about this video. touched on so many horrific and tragic event that has happened between this war that has been going on.
Oh my God! Like we've just been trying to stay away from it.
But
it's been crazy.
You can't ignore it.
You can't ignore
I
it.
presented here last year. It's a map of a blessing. It shows Israel and its Arab partners forming a land bridge connecting Asia and Europe between the Indian Ocean and the Mediterranean Sea. Across this bridge, we will lay rail lines, energy pipelines, fiber optic cables, and this will serve the betterment of 2 billion people. Now look at this second map. It's a map. Look at the second map. It's a map of a curse. It's a map of an arc of terror.
This is more than Third World War. If you guys think about it,
we can't ignore it.
Or if you guys, go a little bit into history,
we can't ignore it. Like it's crazy what's going on over there. The visuals of what's coming out or what we've been able to see is crazy between these two sides, and I hope that we get to a stage where we can just let humanity live. Let's just let this whole thing, war going on in Ukraine, war going on in Russia, prepping for war, Gaza, Lebanon.
Just because of extra landmass.
Like, I thought we passed
Be
this.
grateful for the promised land that you currently have.
About the plight of the Palestinian people right now inside Palestine, to an extent where the Arab world would perhaps unite and take some of these Palestinians as refugees. There's been some sort of criticism that perhaps the weight hasn't been lifted by the Arab world. Thank you.
The weight has to be lifted, but it is not to be lifted by the Arab world. It is to be lifted by removing that weight, and that is very easy by stopping the killing, by stopping the blockade, by allowing enough humanitarian aid to go in to support the Palestinians. The Palestinians do not want to leave their land, and we are not going to encourage them or force them to leave their land, and we're not going to work with anyone who has that agenda. The Palestinians have a right to their land, and they have a right to live in safety and security and dignity on their land, and that is what we will push for, and that is what we will work towards.
Until we pass this, you can't steal people's home and expect them to be happy.
Now to the Middle East, where Israeli forces are reportedly engaged in heavy fighting with Hezbollah in southwestern Lebanon. Meanwhile, Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry is warning all hospitals in the enclave will have to stop or reduce services as early as this weekend due to a lack of fuel. Now, this comes after the International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, his former defense minister, and a Hamas commander, accusing them of war crimes and crimes against humanity.
The International Criminal Court's decision to issue arrest warrants for war crimes against Israeli leader Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant has triggered a furious response across the political spectrum here, with the Prime Minister calling them anti-Semitic. The Hague's allegations of grave crimes against humanity are unprecedented in Israel, marking a significant legal and political turning point for the country.
But anyway, let us know what you guys think about the chosen ones. You know, it's JEJE Vibe.
JEJE.
Catch you in the next video.
It's JEJE Vibe. JEJE Vibe.
JEJE Vibe.
JEJE Vibe.
JEJE Vibe.
JEJE.